Ever thought of buying an apartment abroad? I did it. Here's what I wish I know before buying in Panama. Hi everyone, welcome back to Julie is Sharing. If you're new here, my name is Julie and this channel is all about sharing experience, my experience, lifestyle abroad. And today I'm sharing with you how I accomplished my journey in buying, remodeling and renting my first ever apartment here. So it's going to be 3 episodes or at least a mini series of this video. So today is the part 1. I frequently receive question and curiosity when I'm sharing this experience of buying in Panama. And I'm just deciding why not doing a video. Sit comfortable, grab me that cup of tea because we're about to start. The first question or third things we might think is why Panama? Why I bought recently at this time? For me, Panama offers a mix of urban convenience, tropical climate, and investment opportunity. It's a growing market, relatively stable from politically and financially, and very attractive for expats. Plus, real estate prices are very accessible comparing to US or even Europe, and especially speaking of my case in France, so it's more accessible. And on top of that, I've been living in Panama since almost 4 years now as a French expat, and definitely for me it was a bit challenging to buy from here to France. They ask you more, I would say, condition, even though that you are French citizens, so the fact of being abroad and in this country require you more criteria, and I really tried a lot of things through brokers, bank and so on. So for me it was just challenging, and at the end I didn't find the return in investment that I was looking for. And I just thought then Panama, because I'm building my life here, so for me it was making more sense. And even though it's not forever, I have like a vision to stay more years in this country, so it just appeared it naturally. The next things, of course, to consider is the budgeting and financial part. It's going to be savings, it's going to be cash, is it going to be loans? So there is, of course, different way to acquire your apartments. Can foreigners get mortgage easily? What is the process and so on? So basically I started to define my budget, and for that you need to know how much money you can put, but also still have like a security money, because you know that many things might pop up on the road, you know, it's nothing like linear. You always have like some unforeseen elements, so it's definitely good to have like a bit of cash that you can rely on. At least that was my case, and I'll tell you more about this video of what happened to me in this experience. So basically I have savings, but I also looked into local mortgage options because I didn't want to give all my cash, and actually I don't think it's kind of a good thing. So the bank are here for that, to use as a lever, and if you know how to use credit, it's definitely can be at your advantage and for you to keep money, to keep cash for anything else. So I did a mix options, cash and mortgage. And as foreigner, it really depends on your profile, and this will impact on the bank rate on how you can borrow money. So for me, in my case, at the time I borrowed less than 6.25 or something, or even less. So this is about at this time, and I think it is more or less the average rate that you can have as a foreigner. Also, other factors can impact and increase it. Of course, your revenue, guarantee, and so on. But yes, the rate is higher comparing to Europe. Again, I'm comparing from France, but definitely here is more accessible to be landlord comparing to France. Again, it's all matters on how you calculate, how you define your budget, how you also foresee some unexpected, let's say, cost, or at least the most common that may happen. So this is something you can also estimate it, and I strongly recommend you to do so, do your exercise. Lawyer, taxes, registration fees, for example. But here in general, the bank kind of do some promotion package that may include these expenses, so you can like just contract with them. It was the case with me. I actually did a request for almost all the bank, Mercantil, Banco General, BAC, Banesto. So you have a global vision of what each bank can offer, the pros to cons. And I encourage you to do several requests because it will clearly give you a global vision of what is the market, what is the rate, what is the condition, what bank can offer more than the others, what are the advantage and rates, and so on. Also, don't hesitate to negotiate. Here in Panama, almost everything can be negotiated. You can try, at least you have nothing to lose. And I actually did. I could, for example, save money on the legal administrative aspect, which was about 1,500. It just worth to try. You have nothing to lose. So now, the next point, once we have everything defined in terms of a budget perspective, is to consider the location where you want to buy. So for my case, I did several visits of apartments, and please do, because in Panama, the market, there is a lot of offers, so you are totally in power from my point of view. It's a dynamic market in the sense that there is building, construction and so on, but don't be in a rush because there will be plenty of offers. So take your time to really look at the area where you want to invest, even if it's for you to live or for rent, like be strategic, because each zone has more or less its characteristic. So for my case, I was looking specifically in San Francisco, also in Cangrejo, Obarrio, Avenida Balboa, so a bit more central of the city, because this was where I was living and I wanted something also in the same area for me first to easily manage if I have to manage my property, which I'm doing actually. I'm doing a mix and I will explain. But also this type of zone offers more or less a direct access to the corridor to connect, for example, to Costa del Este. For me, it was really balanced to consider this zone. And at the end, I bought actually in San Francisco district, close from Parque Omar. There is a very good zone, close from mall. You have different restaurants, hospital, even though university. So for me, it's like good to target if I want also students, so people like that, more kind of open. And the particularity of my apartment, it's close from a metro station, which give a good alternative for the people who do not have a car and consider like a public transport. I was trying to find the most practical for this type of people. So definitely Panama City is diverse. Cascavero, it's charming, is historic, but a bit more expensive for that. And because of course it's the heart historic of Panama City. San Francisco is more modern, central, you have plenty of restaurant and night out lifestyle. And Cangrejo is more local, walkable. I really like this zone, and actually I was considered at the very beginning my first apartment there. It's a very nice also area with cafe. So yes, this zone, because for me it really represents a mix of lifestyle and future rental potential. But please, there is no kind of the perfect zone, or at least yes, if for you the zone check the most box possible, so this will be kind of perfect. But each zone has its pros and cons, but again it will depend on what are your criteria, what you're looking for, if it's for investment, it's for yourself, who are you targeting to. So many variables. Your criteria need to be based on the strategy of your investment. And yes, I visited a lot of apartments, but I really wanted to feel comfortable as much as possible to take my choice wisely and give the more information possible. Now, I was a bit discussing that in the other section, but here comes the strategic aspect. Okay, so now you have budgeting, now you know more or less where you want to buy your apartment. It's also time to define a bit of the strategy, if it will be renting, living, investing, if it's going to be new properties or properties. Personally, I bought a second property or second hand. I don't know, because I'm a bit scared to buy in general like properties which are not already built or like in projects. I prefer to see or to buy a second property because I can already see how is the building itself, how is getting old. Mine is like less than 7 years, which is kind of good because you can see already at the time if it's well maintained. There is like specific exposition to humidity, to certain things. So these buildings that have already years already give you this indication and kind of comfort you or not to buy. So for me, that's why I think it's more interesting to buy in the whole one. But again, this depends on your strategy. You have pre-construction, ready to move. For example, if you consider the ready to move, for you, maybe it's more convenient to not have any work to do. For my case, I did buy a second hand, but with a good base, which didn't require me a lot of work. I just wanted to do a remodelation, so giving like a bit of peps, and I will show you on the next episode. But definitely I wanted just to make it to my vision comfortable, and I was also able to negotiate the price because of that, because it's not brand new, and sometimes also the landlord wants to sell in a certain time. So I think there is more power also in the negotiation to go with a second hand than a ready to move. So my plan was definitely to find a place where I could both enjoy and rent out later. So here are my lesson learned or advice that I want to share with you in case you want to consider buying an apartment in Panama. So first, define your objective. Do you want to live in, rent out, invest? The second advice is to set a realistic budget with all the extra expensive you might think of or what you can find on the internet. The third advice is to do research of neighborhood in person. Go in the zone you want to invest. Of course, if you are in Panama, this is mandatory, but if you are not, please also come reach out to me. If you are any concern, any question, I will be happy to help you or put you in contact with my network. I have a very good contact that can support. Otherwise, you have also information on the net. So I think 2025, we have a lot of access to information. It might be more fastidious, but you still have the possibility to do so. The fourth advice I want to give you is to surround you with the good persons and also specialize in their domain. So like a lawyer, an agent, locals. You can also again reach out to me. I will be happy to support you. I'm a bit like your unfiltered here in Panama. Don't hesitate to use all of the resources possible you may have. And finally, I want to say trust your instincts. Of course, always check everything, but trust also about your feelings. If you do the visit in person, you will feel how it is the atmosphere around you. This gives you emotion, it can provide you things. So also rely on that, because there are some good elements. In my case, I was like fell in love in a loft apartment. I wanted to buy a loft, and for some reasons, with the process with the bank, I did provide everything. Everything was good from my side, but it didn't go forward. And I was like, okay, maybe that's not what it's meant for me. So I didn't push further, and I was like, okay, let's take time and reconsider. And at the end, I found another apartment, so the one I'm about. And for me, with time, I feel like it was more appropriate to my strategy, because the loft I wanted to buy at first was more something like, I wish I buy but for me. And then I remember that I don't want to buy for me, at least at the moment, but I want to buy for investments. And by reconsider that, it's really changed everything. But the fact of trusting this instinct, and also kind of the signal that was telling me, oh, maybe it's not for this apartment and this time, really helped me to realize. So okay, it's just a tips, but in some cases it might be relevant, so just also consider that. And that's going to be all for this first episode. In the second part, I'm going to show you how is the buying process in Panama. It might not be smooth as you might think, but let's see on the next episode. So see you there. Thank you for watching. I hope this was of course helpful. Don't hesitate to drop some comments. Tell me if you already have experience. What was your first step before buying? I'm really looking to read your experience. And yes, this is a space to share, so feel free, and see you on the next episodes.